Right, so we're back this time with another reaction video. This time we're going to be doing Teyana Taylor, the album, 23 tracks, over an hour and 17 minutes right here. The first track is going to be Intro. The only track I did listen to was Wake Up Love featuring Iman, because of course I'm a big basketball fan, so I do know who Shumpert is, but I was never aware that he was actually rapping as well. But from what I'm aware, because I did see the video, he's with Teyana Taylor, so that's the reason he's actually rapping on the track, from what I'm aware. I haven't listened to him rapping on any other type of track. But that's the only track I've listened to. I did find out about this artist because of the Joe Budden podcast. I'm a big fan of the podcast. So let's see how this is going to be right here. The first track, Intro. Let's see how it's going to be. Some heartbeats right here. Sounds like emergency happened. This is an intense intro right here. Right, so thankfully the baby's okay on the intro. That was a very intense intro right there. Had a very minimal beat. Just talking to the other person about basically trying to be safe at that moment. Can't tell what really happened, but either way. Come Back to Me, featuring Junie and Rick Ross. I don't know who Junie is, but I do know, of course, who Rick Ross is. Let's see how this track's gonna be. This beat sounds good already right here. Ross starting right here.
Ever had your heart broken? Felt like you got your car stolen. Was a sucker for a ponytail. Looking like another game of show and tell.
Alright, so we got passionate vocals right here. She's impatient. Nice variety and vocal range right here on the track so far. Alright, so in this track she's feeling like if it's for real, the person will come back to her, but that was a very good start from Ross because I wasn't expecting it to be a good combination like that. I wasn't aware of what to expect, of course, being this a new artist, but at the same time, they did sound very good together. A very nice contrast going for that rapping ability and a nice vocal range throughout the track when it comes to her. I'm not really sure when it comes to the feature who Junie is, but I'm honestly not really sure. The other person I did hear was basically the voice of her daughter, if I'm not mistaken it is. So I'm not really sure who Junie is. Alright, so that was a good vibe right there. Let's see how the fourth track's gonna be, Lowkey featuring Erykah Badu. Let's see how the track's gonna be. Alright, so on this track so far, she talks about being willing to give it a try, even though she's confused and she doesn't know what to do. I want to see how the feature's going to sound right here for sure because, of course, Erykah Badu is a legend. Let's see how it's going to sound so far. Yeah, Badu got a very distinct type of voice. She says you got options, tough. So this was another good combination right here. Basically, Erykah Badu talked about the multiple options she has, second guessing from the part of Teyana Taylor when it came to saying she doesn't know what to do, but at the same time she's willing to give it a shot, basically. But I did enjoy the vibe. I felt like the voices, you could definitely tell the very distinct type of tones when it comes to these artists because Erykah Badu has much more of a, her timbre is much more different. It's not as lower as the normal type of tone from Teyana Taylor, but of course the vocal range is right there for both artists, so it did sound good when it came to this track. Let's see how it's going to be with Quavo, another rapper right here. So let's see the type of combination right here between rap and R&B. Let's build as the fifth track. Let's see how it's going to be right here. Pop, double, pop. It's worth a lot. Okay, Quavo. like both voices being here together right now. Yeah, I definitely agree. If I'm trying to build with a woman, I would definitely put at first the loyalty right there as a primary focus. But I wasn't expecting for Quavo to sound right here the way he sounded. There was a part where you could definitely tell the auto-tune, but for the most part, it was a very, very smooth tone that didn't really feel like it was overpowered. How do you say overpowered by auto-tune right here? I did like the way both voices were actually singing at the same time at certain parts of the track. It's a good combination right here too. I can't really say I didn't enjoy the track, so I did enjoy it. So far, I still feel like the best track was definitely Come Back to Me. So we're only at track number 6. Let's see how 1-800 One Night's gonna be compared to the other tracks right here. Let's see how it's gonna be. So apparently this is a phone number I have to call if I want to be fucking all night. So I'm gonna have to call this phone number. I'll give it to you. So yeah, that could definitely be the voicemail for the phone call, but I feel like that's actually the least favorite track so far when it comes to the overall instrumental, because it's very minimal. But in terms of being like the most sensual track, definitely has to be, because it has that type of vibe for sure. 1-800 One Night, I still feel like so far track number 2 is my favorite. Let's see how Morning is going to be with Kehlani. We have done multiple reactions to Kehlani. Let's see how it's going to be right here, the type of feature and combination between these two artists right here. Almost feel like a falsetto right here. I could definitely play with the clip. Yeah, I take it back. This is the most sensual track so far. Kehlani got a faster flow right here. Next time I'm fucking her, I'm gonna put this track. Kehlani had a very fast-paced flow right there compared to the almost falsetto tone from Teyana Taylor on this track. Very, very sensual vibe overall. It had like that whisper type of element to it when it came to Teyana Taylor, but I did like the combination as well. Let's see how it's going to be right here.
When it comes to Missy Elliott and Future,
I would still say the best features was actually Rick Ross still to me. But at the same time, the track with Erykah Badu was actually good too. But let's see how this track's going to be right here. Boomin.
Featuring Missy Elliott and Future.
I want to see how Future's going to sound right here. Yeah, Future's gonna kill this right here.
Everything I do is deep, but we got a deep. I bring the Hermes free chill. One in Miami, one in Atlanta, and Beverly Hills. Oh, it feels so nice and warm when I staring in my face and I.
Very different vibe with Missy right here now. Okay, so definitely the standout feature right there was Future, because when it came to Missy Elliott, she sounded good right here, but she had a very, very short verse or part, however you want to say it, compared to Future that had a very, very complete part on this track. Yesterday. He's my man. 69 the top of position right here. I'm gonna be honest, to me this position is very overrated. I don't feel like it's that special, to be honest. Alright, so it seems as we keep progressing through the project, the tracks get more explicit. The sound is much more sensual right here, but her voice even changes to a much more higher type of pitch, if you want to put it that way. But yeah, of course this track right here talking about a very popular position, but I feel like it's overrated, to be honest. But either way, let's get to the next track. Next track's gonna be Killa featuring Davido. I just noticed Big Sean is right here too. Feels like Caribbean type of vibes right here. Shit, Killa. Never listened to the video before. Didn't really enjoy that track as much as the other ones, given a different type of sound. I wasn't expecting the Caribbean vibe right here, even though I'm actually from the Caribbean. But when it comes to the type of sound, it was just a bit too different compared to the progression we were going towards when it came to that more R&B sensual type of sound she's been going for. Let's see how bad it's going to be either way. Davido, I've never listened to that artist. I never listened to that feature before. He definitely sounds like he's in that type of genre, but it wasn't necessarily a bad track, just not one of my favorites. Not a good type of sound to go towards when you were going for that different type of progression right here with the other type of tracks.
I gave you diamonds, you gave stones. Your heart was ISIS, so I threw it down, played it, but we knew what it was. When you
okay, so this has a similar vibe too. I actually like this one more. So this might actually be the progression now, but I do enjoy this one more. So this track did have as well a Caribbean type of vibe, but when it came to the sound, I did actually enjoy this track much more than the Killa track. Yeah, never mind, it sounds more R&B right here.
No, you probably used to dealing with the moms who be scared to say shit. So they let you run rearrangement. So I need to know just what we do.
What we doing?
You got the wrong bitch. You got the wrong bitch.
I like how she sounds here more than in the chorus. The chorus sounds a bit too repetitive for me. The chorus on this track is a bit too repetitive for me. It gets very tiring to listen to the "you got the wrong bitch" too many times. But when it comes to the actual, I don't want to say verses because of course it's not rapping, but the other parts that are not the chorus, that's like the best part from this track. But the chorus kind of makes the track lackluster, if you want to put it that way. Big Sean right here, let's see how it's gonna be.
Think that you got the answer, say it back.
Yeah, this is my top of beat right here. I'm honest. You know it's a crazy type of vibes if she says she's gonna shoot it up.
If it's not a reason, then you make it. Sometimes
it's for Janae right here.
You love to hate me. I can tell you don't trust me, but behind trust, this is the one who gave it to you in the first place. You say you feel mistreated, how? Okay, show me I only know much as you teach me, cause
that's a good verse right there for Sean. Big Sean right here sounded great. I did like the way he went for the high type of tones to the last part of his verse. A very, very good feature right here for sure. I gotta say the best ones might actually be
Future when it comes to the features, Big Sean.
And Rick Ross. And that happens to be the rappers, so a good combination right here between R&B and hip-hop for sure, because the rappers have actually been sounding the best for me when it comes to the features.
I've been telling niggas like just split up on my time. I got baggage. My heart's way too hard.
So yeah, she's been talking multiple times on this project about how she's indecisive, like she second guesses things multiple times, and at the same time she's a lot to manage. She says right here on this track, Bear With Me, so she definitely has had that theme when it comes to this project so far. I don't think I would be the type of person to bear, but I do like this track, the way it sounds, the way her voice is. I feel like definitely her best tracks have been that type of R&B with the hard-hitting beats, and at the same time this high type of tone from her definitely sounds the best so far. Lose each other, let's see how this is gonna be right here.
We don't have to lose each other. Baby, on these ultimate.
let's be honest, a cheap one is always the best when it comes to the intimacy. This is the best vocal performance right here. We can be acquaintances that have intimacy, but I don't like the friends label because I don't feel like the friendship term is the correct term for that type of moment. I wouldn't get with a woman that's my friend and buy the cheap $5 wine to have intimacy. It's going to be an acquaintance that I'm well aware of, but at the same time I want intimacy with. But the friend type of term just feels like trying to use the friend zone type of term. Track number 16, Concrete. Let's see how it's going to be right here.
Let's talk about forgiveness. But you wanna say, we can find a way, can we find a way? Why am I so confused? If we're certain, too much concrete, I need something concrete. Yeah. We can dance to the way, can dance to the way. We can throw it away, ignore it away.
This is another track where I feel like the chorus is not as good as the verses. Wipe your tears. This doesn't sound like R&B right here. Always. She keeps talking about how she can't control so, and at the same talking about how she keeps crying for love, but it won't wipe her tears. It's a very, very personal track. Once again, she's been diving into this type of topic about multiple times, second guessing, about trying to be willing, but at the same time having a problem of not actually it occurring, if you want to put it that way. But yeah, that's part of this project so far. It's a very intimate track, a very, very powerful sound. It didn't really feel like an R&B type of track when it comes to the beat so far.
No matter what you do,
No matter.
I still believe.
So she says no matter what the person does, she's still gonna believe. She's always gonna still believe. But yeah, this is a very personal track, probably the most personal track in the project.
It's real thing, I know.
This is my top of beat right here for sure. This is a very hard beat right here. The best thing about this track is the beat for sure. It might actually be my favorite beat the entire project. Very different sounding, but it still maintained the essence of that R&B type of sound. Damn, we still got 5 tracks right here. This is a very, very long project, bruh.
Maybe we should try again. Try again. Try again. Try again. The things that I don't need. You take things you can't take back.
Trying again without restrictions is the best method. I like the vocal tone right here a lot. Ironically, a lot of repetition right there in the chorus, like I said previously for some other tracks, but I didn't actually mind it right here for some reason. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite tracks, but on the other tracks, it kind of made it feel like a tough listen. Right here was just like, it just felt smooth, even though it had a lot of repetition right there on the chorus. I'm gonna listen to the last track, Lauryn Hill, because I want to get to that track. And I might do like a speed round for the last 3 tracks because my battery's about to die. But let's get right to the last track and see We Got Love.
God is all about love. Some love is the best love. When you go take that risk, babe. Play catch with the hundreds. Love is the new money. Love, you better believe that. I'm just chilling with the homies. Homies with the homies. I'm mentally wealthy.
Sure.
Spiritually conscious.
There's nothing better than to be mentally wealthy. The main focus actually has to be that your mental health is stable, that you're in a good place for sure, because that's what matters the most, honestly. Your focus right there, having good health, not necessarily having the biggest wealth when it comes to materialism and monetary gains all the time.
Keep your focus. You keep your sense of love. Protect me while having all these things. What does it matter? What does it mean?
That's a good speech right there at the end, a very good outro. I was expecting maybe a feature a different type of way, but I still enjoyed it like that. Let's see how it's going to be with the other tracks. That was definitely much more upbeat. Of course, talking about We Got Love and also talking about love as the new money. Let's see how it's going to be with the other tracks. I'm going to do a very, very fast round right here.
You want me to settle, you gotta do better, babe. Tell me what you want, I will do it all the way. See if you know what, I'm a nasty bitch, so I'ma fuck it like I should. Know that you been weeping.
Holding up, I'ma stand in that pussy, have you folding up. Face down, that's up, girl, you know.
All this blessings rolling in, I ain't even see 'em coming. This what life's supposed to feel like. Looking like I'm in the gym, right?
Okay, so I feel like the best tracks out of those three is definitely How You Want It featuring King Combs. I've never listened to him before, but I felt like that had the most energy and the track made it. Friends was mild, it was okay. Not necessarily a great track. When it comes to my favorite tracks, it's a tough one because 23 tracks right here. This is a very, very long project, but I felt like there was definitely some standout tracks. This isn't really going to be in order, but Come Back to Me featuring Rick Ross, Junie. Good track right there. Rick Ross actually sounded very, very good. Wake Up Love as well. Lowkey, a good track too. And Morning with Kehlani. So those tracks were actually at the start of the project, but still there was some very good tracks towards the latter part of the project. But since I'm only picking 5, those are definitely the ones that I remember the most enjoying when it comes to the listen. But when it came to this project, a very, very intense project because it had personal moments and it had some different type of vocal tones. Like sometimes she sounded like she had a falsetto. Some of the times she sounded like she was going for a lower type of tone. She even had 2 tracks that sounded like a Caribbean type of vibe. So she had variety right here. Definitely for a long project, you would expect it to be versatile because she has so many tracks right here. And it's over an hour and 17 minutes right here. So it does have a lot of intensity when it comes to the vocal ability. Like one of the tracks that was very sensual, even though I didn't enjoy it as much, was track number 6, 1-800 One Night. And it had like that type of whispery tone with the falsetto type of vibe at the same time. I felt like if it was a bit more concise, I might enjoy it a bit more because I feel like it's way too much. And it's always a problem with me. Like I even said it when it came to one of my recent reviews. I think it was a review, the Spanish review I did of Anuel. His project is very, very long, 22 tracks if I'm not mistaken. And it just gets like very, very overpowering to listen to. Like it's too much to have to listen to. But either way, subscribe for some other videos. Teyana Taylor, the album. I'm out. Peace.